Former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens repeal the Second Amendment. But I'm confused because I didn't think they wanted to repeal the Second Amendment. You know, that constitutional right? The thing that where they're saying, we're not trying to take your guns away. They just want to repeal the Second Amendment. Okay? Isn't that the same thing? I don't know. Let's find out. Former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens says the right to bear arms has run its course, and now's the time to repeal the Second Amendment. Didn't see this coming. This is what I say, but when we turn around and say it's a slippery slope, we're not just saying stuff like that. We're not just trying to use buzzwords. We actually do mean it's a slippery slope. If the Democrats come out and say, we won't take all your guns away, they won't get voted for the next 20 years. But if they come out and they say, we're not trying to take your guns away, we just want to make it harder for you to use this one. And then the next year, this one. And then the next year, this one. And before you know it, all the guns are gone, and you're sitting there scratching your head going, where'd all our guns go? He suggested that student protesters should shift their focus from pushing legislation to pressuring a change in the Constitution. Of course he does. He's a Democrat, isn't he? The Hill quoted a New York Times op-ed in which Stephen praised the efforts of the students protesters, then said demonstrators should seek more effective and more lasting reform. They should demand a repeal of the Second Amendment. Please, Democrats, please run on this. I want this to be your mid-election. Your midterms election, please run on this. Or 2020 or whatever it is. Run on this. I would love to see what happens. He stressed his belief that there are ample support to raise the minimum age for long gun purchases, prohibiting civilian ownership of semi-automatic weapons, I'll get to that in a sec, and erecting universal background checks, but made clear that more should be done. So, prohibiting civilian ownership of semi-automatics, that is your pistols, your rifles, handguns, everything, pretty much, except for shotguns and single-shot rifles. So the only thing that you'll be able to own is a single-shot bolt-action, sort of lever-action sort of gun, shotgun, or something along those lines. But hey, they're not trying to take the guns away. They just want to take 90% of them away instead. Like all your handguns, gone. Pistols, gone. 90% of the weapons that are out there would be banned. But hey, they're not trying to take the guns away. At least now they're being honest, I suppose. Stevens expressed his continued disagreement with the District of Columbia via Heller 2008 decision, suggesting that repeal of the Second Amendment would remove the handrests posed by a decision that would allow sellers of firearms to be sued once more. He described removing Heller via repeal of the Second Amendment as a simple but dramatic action that would move Saturday's march closer to their objective than any possible reform. You know what will happen if you go through and try and repeal the Second Amendment? Civil war. Yeah. I'd be very surprised if that didn't happen. Your military, I very much doubt they would actually join in on this. You'd have the civilians and the military teaming up to try and take out the government. And there would be civil war. You would be opening the US up for attacks by their foreign enemies, because at the end of the day, the military would be trying too busy to A, squash the rebellion, or B, join the rebellion to worry about defending borders. People would do border crossings. You'd be flooded by migrants who previously weren't allowed in the country. It would be an absolute disaster. But yeah, if you go to repeal the Second Amendment, I can imagine that happening. Good luck with that, I suppose. But yeah, this is why it's trending on Twitter. Yeah, it's ironic because if you actually go through the Twitter conversations, you get an idea of what people were actually aiming for all along. So what I've done is I've gone through, now this is Twitter, I haven't logged in or anything like that, but this is the Twitter where it's the repeal the Second Amendment. Now at the end of the day, a lot of people are going through and making the point that Britain and Australia have gone through and removed guns as well, banning guns. I am planning on making a video on that, but yeah, just outlining what the actual difference was between Australia pre-banning guns and post-banning guns. Might surprise some people in the gun control lobby. But yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, I'll get to that video sooner or later. But yeah, you go through and you get a lot of people that says, we do not want to repeal the Second Amendment, only calling for common sense gun laws. Really? Because you're literally posting in a topic that says repeal the Second Amendment. Like, bipolarism. It's fun. Someone here, we do not want to take your guns away from you. Ha ha ha, stop being paranoid. I believe they called us conspiracy theories. Repeal the Second Amendment trends on Twitter after a former Liberal Supreme Court justice advocates for exactly that. Like, yeah. This is interesting. Rex Tilson actually wrote on Saturday, yes, we're marching against guns, but relax, we're not coming for your guns. Sunday, okay, we're coming for your guns, but only the really bad guns. Monday, okay, I really don't know the difference between a good and a bad gun. Tuesday, fuck it, repeal the Second Amendment. Kind of sums it up pretty good, doesn't it? Liberals yesterday, no one wants to take away your guns, stop being paranoid. Liberals today, repeal the Second Amendment. Sticks Hexenhammer here. So repeal the Second Amendment is trending. That's odd. I was assured such a thing. I was absolutely, unabitedly not the goal of the left as little as 24 hours ago. Come and take it. I like Sticks. Majority of us aren't asking to repeal the Second Amendment. Sure you're not. The Second Amendment says that the people have the right to a well-regulated militia. I don't think that's actually right. It's hardly called civilians' access to military-style weapons well-regulated. Okay, so you're saying that the Second Amendment, in your own words, which I disagree with, but say again, say that you have a right to the well-regulated militia. And you want to change that. But you don't want to go through and repeal the Second Amendment. How is that not repealing? So at the end of the day, look, obviously with Twitter, a lot of the right are saying, come and take our guns from our cold dead hands. A lot of the left are turning around saying, we don't want to repeal the Second Amendment, we just want to repeal the Second Amendment. The reason why I'm concerned about this is because America is the only country that I know that has freedom of speech. Once you start going through and repealing amendments like the Second Amendment, it sets a precedent for the First Amendment. So once they've got rid of the guns, then they can go for freedom of speech because, hey, there's that precedent already set. So even if you do not like guns and you're pro-free speech, you should be against them getting rid of the Second Amendment. Just because of the fact that once they've done that, they can then get rid of the freedom of speech. And then you won't have that like the rest of the world. So what's the takeaway from all this? Well, look, at the end of the day, I'm in Australia. We do not have freedom of speech. We do not have the right to bear arms. It's funny how those two seem to go hand in hand, isn't it? At the end of the day, look, yeah, if they go through and they try and take the guns, I imagine civil war would happen. And I say that very, very honestly. That I don't think a lot of Americans would actually support this. And a lot of people who don't already own guns probably wouldn't support this either. It's a constitutional right. You start messing around with the Constitution, all of a sudden you can start going through and removing ones that you do not like. Bad idea, because your country was literally founded on these rules. But hey guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you believe they should repeal the Second Amendment? Do you believe they should leave it alone? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.